When tornadoes destroyed much of northern Tennessee and western Kentucky, he collected over 1,000 instruments and gave them out for free to the musicians who lost theirs. When floods ravaged the mountains of Appalachia months later, he collected another 1,000 guitars, banjos, mandolins, flutes, and trumpets and gave them out for free to the musicians of the region. Recently, the storms of Helene took the music away from the front porches of western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee, and again he collected another 1,000 instruments, giving them out for free to musicians who lost theirs. Welcome to the musical world of Michael Johnathon, a very proud folk singer, song farmer, log cabin dweller, author, writer, organizer, producer, touring and recording artist.
I grew up in upstate New York. Don't hold that against me. I'm transplanted but homegrown here in Kentucky. I had a wonderful community in New York. My neighbor was a very interesting fellow. We lived right on the Hudson River, which was about a mile wide where I lived. And he was a delightful older fellow that claimed to be a musician, but he played the banjo, which to a rock and roll New York teenager didn't make sense because unless you could plug it in, it's not a real instrument. Graduated high school, moved to the Mexican border. And I got a job at a little radio station, KLAR, right on the Mexican border in Laredo. And one night I was playing a song by Roger McGuinn and the Byrds. To everything, turn, 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 there is a season. I noticed it was written by my neighbor. And I was like, oh, well, that's who Pete Seeger is. And so I called him up. I said, Pete, it's Michael from next door. I think I want to be a folk singer. What do I do? And he suggested I move to the Appalachian Mountains, which I did, a little hamlet in East Kentucky, Mousy, Kentucky, Mousie. And I was there for 2.5 years, going up and down the mountains with my guitar and banjo, knocking on doors, and had literally hundreds of front porch hootenannies where the local folks who are delightful and beautiful and wonderful and generous. They taught me a lot of the American folk music that Pete Seeger recommended that I go do instead of going to school. My school was the mountains. When I started performing professionally in the mountains, there's no place to play out there, so I was performing in schools, and I learned very quickly that when you live in the Appalachian Mountains, it'll take you about 2.5 hours just to start your trip to get to wherever you're going to perform. So I moved to central Kentucky, first Winchester, and I became a close friend of Homer Ledford, which to this day I wear his bolo around my neck every day. Central Kentucky became my home, it became my community, it became the place where I work. I don't work for a living here, I work for a living everywhere else. But here in my hometown, I get to do these projects that I do because I love them. And so this has become a very fertile ground, artistic, entrepreneurial garden. And it's one of the few places in America where you could pull off things like Song Farmers and WoodSongs Kids and the Troubadour Concert Series and everything else that we try to do here. Central Kentucky is unique in that its community is very artistic, very entrepreneurial, and very willing to participate. It's great.
Here on the Louisiana Hayride. His name is Hank Williams.
From the Grand Ole Opry, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys.
Hi, this is Bruce Hornsby. Hi, this is Kevin Moe.
Hey folks, this is Bela Fleck.
Hi folks, this is Sam Bush.
Hello, this is Odetta.
This is Joan Baez, and you're listening to the WoodSongs Old Time Radio Hour.
And now, gather the family around and sit back in your easy chair. It's time again for the WoodSongs Old Time Radio Hour, our worldwide celebration of grassroots music. Let's welcome folk singer, author, and tree hugger, Michael Johnathon.
WoodSongs started with an idea in Homer Ledford's workshop in Winchester, Kentucky. I was watching him work with wood. We were talking about songs, and that's where the word came from. And then I was on the road opening for Judy Collins around the country. We were in this big town car heading to the venue, and they had on a show I never heard before called Prairie Home Companion. I had a friend of mine on the show called Sam Bush. And I thought, well, wouldn't that be interesting to have a show like that, but without the stories? What if it was different like that? It was just about the music. And so WoodSongs was created in Lexington in a little studio owned by Kevin Johnson. We had like 12 people sitting on cushions the first show that we did. And that was 1,117 shows ago. WoodSongs gave birth to WoodSongs Kids, which is sort of a Mr. Rogers meets the Grand Ole Opry. It gave birth to Song Farmers, which is a national community of front porch musicians. It's all based on the same theory that I've lived my entire career on, and that's that love is the greatest transaction of the arts. It's more important than anything, unless you love what you're doing. And when you do love this, the act of love means you're going to open up the spotlight to include as many as possible. It's also the greatest business plan of the arts, because when the audience loves what you're doing, the audience will do what the audience has always done. They're going to buy your stuff. So yes, you can make a living in the arts, but unless it's based on love, then it's not going to last. And that's what drives everything that we do. Blue skies shining on me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebird, they're singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shine so bright, never saw things looking so right. Noticing the day hurrying by when you're in love, my how they fly like blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on.